1, 2, 3.
There's a life on man waiting in the sky.
No.
James, you didn't join in.
It's just doing the silent parts of one of the songs.
So, now that David Bowie's life has come to an end, we thought it would be a nice thing to do a short sort of retrospective video where we talk about his life and times, like why it was important to us. Yeah, the man, the one, the legend, born 8th of January 1947 to the 10th of January 2016. 27 studio albums. The guy is insane.
Should we start with
ridiculous?
how we each got to know him?
Okay, James, tell us how you got to... Let me touch you. How did you get to know him?
So I first heard Space Oddity quite late, actually. I was like 16 or something when I first heard Space Oddity, and I was like, "Hey, I really like this. Who's it by? Oh, it's by David Bowie.
I've heard that name
Someone
before.
that I definitely need to get into and haven't done for my entire life." And then I went and listened to, I went and asked my dad. I was like, "Hey, Dad, album, David Bowie, what should I listen to?" And he was like, "Hunky Dory."
I think that's everyone's response.
Hunky Dory. Man, that album.
So you got heavily into the Dory.
Heavily into the Dory.
Oh, shit.
Could we just say right now,
Dory Bowie.
favourite album, Hunky Dory?
Yes, my favourite
Favourite
album
album?
is...
It is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, how did you get into it,
Best
Gareth?
album. So I got into it really early. It was one of the first musical things I was ever into because my dad likes a bit of Bowie, right?
Bowie.
Playing him both his own, playing the guitar and singing, which he did a lot, and listening to his records. My dad, quite into like comedy songs, silly songs sort of stuff. Really liked his first album, which was a bit more novelty stuff. And there's a load of songs on that which I love because it manages to be catchy, like funny, and sometimes emotional all at the same time. I think it's a great mix of stuff. And then some of his later stuff, like, not later, but other early stuff, like The Man Who Sold the World, Rise, Fall into Ziggy, Stardust, some of the songs from there he'd always play and I'd hear all around the house. And I love songs from all of them. But then Hunky Dory was the one where my dad didn't like it as much because it's more of sort of his sort of theatrical style rather than his sort of more rock style. But that was the one where, as a kid, like 7 or 8 years old, I borrowed my dad's CD of Hunky Dory and I still have it to this day because
Nice.
it's just like one of my favourite albums
Borrowed.
ever. And yeah, exactly, it's in my room.
This is an admission of guilt right here.
Like, this album is so good. I think it's absolutely 10 out of 10. It's one of the greatest things ever. Every song on it is brilliant, and I love it.
I think I got into Bowie when I was like 8 years old. I didn't get into Bowie, like, obviously we weren't born early enough to like have his albums that were coming out.
Yeah.
So the way I actually got into it was through a Best of Bowie, like greatest hits album that was like played constantly, which I then sort of stole and had it on repeat, and then my brother would steal it off me and have it on repeat. And then my sister, I think, also. So this CD was like used and battered and broken. It would like skip like constantly. But I was absolutely obsessed with this, obviously like the most amazing songs ever. And it was actually chronological. So it would
Each album going from early to late. Yeah,
so you could like start off with like
that.
Space Oddity, and it would go on to like Young Americans and even later. But I remember when it got into the 80s stuff, I was like, ooh. New Bowie. Young American.
Yeah, I'm personally more into his earlier stuff. His first sort of 4 or 5 albums, which could be a normal artist's whole career.
Yeah.
True.
That's where I'm like, yes, it's on point for me. And I do like, but I feel like after Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, it starts to become, none of his albums after that, I'm like, I love this album.
Really?
Yeah, but all of them have like songs I love on. Like there's always one with a couple of songs I'm like, yes, and a load of good songs. I don't think any of his albums are bad.
What about Blackstar?
Blackstar is the exception because that is I feel like for me his career was like up and then down to a good resting place, a good plateau, and then at the end just a little peak for Blackstar because that was an excellent album.
Well, for me, I didn't really dig his first album, self-titled David Bowie, because as you say, it was kind of weird album.
It was definitely meant to be like a novelty thing, and all the songs are kind of jokey,
And it's painfully English
some
as well.
of them it's very English, and it's very sort of 60s sort of English.
It's weird.
It was definitely made for the radio in the 60s.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
personally not a fan of that one either.
I was digging like the stuff in the 80s, like from Space Oddity to like a lot of the 80s stuff. That's like me. That's the golden Bowie
yeah,
time.
for me,
Isn't
it's exactly
that
the same. It's exactly
All Bowie.
No,
Almost.
he like did a gajillion more
yeah, he did
albums.
A lot. He did a
Yeah,
lot.
it's true.
Um,
But all of the main ones.
For me, it was Space Oddity in '69, Hunky Dory '71, Ziggy Stardust '72, Aladdin Sane '73, Station to Station in '76, and then the frickin' Berlin years.
Yeah.
77 Low, 77 Heroes, and 79 Lodger.
I liked Heroes.
Those three huge standout albums.
Yeah.
One
It's
of
just-
which I'm researching for my dissertation. Love by David Bowie. Strong album. And very new and different and exciting.
Dude,
Love it.
when Blackstar came out, I couldn't get over it. It was so different to his stuff he's done before.
Well, that's one of the things about Bowie, which has always kept him so strong, and so for some people, I think more weird to get into, is that he has so much stuff and it's all so different.
Yeah, like he
Like, you listen
reinvents
to-
himself like every album.
Original Bowie is like sort of funny comedy songs. Then he gets into his sort of more sort of rock and roll era, and where he's like, and he has this. Then he gets even more sort of experimental and like weird, surreal with his like subject matter. Then he starts getting sort of theatrical, and then he starts going into the like electronic stuff and getting some dancey stuff in there. And he's just so like flowing through stuff. You could listen to like one song from each of his albums, and you'll be like, "What? This is the same guy who's done all of this different stuff."
Yeah.
From like, from Suffragette City to Little Bombardier to Blackstar to Let's Dance. They're all such different songs and different styles, and they're all excellent, and they're all like
It's like
same
one of the-
dude.
must be like one of the longest running musical careers that is actually good.
Yeah.
it's good the whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Ridiculously
very rare to have
consistent.
something like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculously so.
Like how can you stay relevant? You know?
Normally, to have a career that is considered entirely good, you have to die early enough that you don't make any shit.
Yeah.
But Bowie managed to die late and have not made any shit.
Yeah. Still
And to think
before
that-
his time, I think.
And to think that he's like peaking in the 70s, like throughout the whole 70s, he's doing amazing work.
Yeah,
And then in 2016, he brings out a banger.
yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't get over Blackstar. I think it's going to go down in history as one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
All-time greats. Like, when we do our 2016 best albums
It will probably
in
be
the
up there.
future, it's
If
going
it
to
had
be...
come out like a month earlier, it would have been in my 2015 list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I
But
think
would it have beaten Pimp a Butterfly?
no, no, but it would have been in the top 5. Definitely in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's weird. This year has already started off as a strong year for music because there's like 2 albums already that I would have put in my top 5. I think.
True.
But yeah, there's what would you say your top 5 Bowie albums would be, or maybe top 3, just like your favourite Bowie albums of all. Because for me,
Hunky Dory, Ziggy Stardust, and Low, my personal favourites.
because Blackstar is up there, I think that's the most impressive thing about it. For me, it would be like Hunky Dory, Ziggy Stardust, Blackstar,
That's
The
it
Man
for me.
Who Stole the World,
That's it for me as well.
stuff like that. And he had some such good songs. I was thinking of my favourites, and there was just so many. I was like going through them. I was like, there's lots of obvious ones. Like anything from Hunky Dory could be up there in my
Yeah,
favourites.
the whole
They're
album's amazing.
all incredible. And then there's like Ziggy Stardust, Genie, Space Oddity. There's like The Man Who Sold the World, Save Your Machine, Superman, Rock and Roll Suicide, Suffragette City, Rebel. And then you get to later, and I'm like, every album has a song that could be one of my favourite Bowie songs. Genie, Rebel. Fame, Ashes to Ashes, Let's Dance, and they're all different albums, different songs that I'm just like. Oh,
I don't know whether
they
you
could
said
be.
it, but Heroes as well. Like,
Heroes.
That could be a
Yeah.
national anthem. Like
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many good ones.
everyone loves that song.
I think my favourites of his would be Space Oddity, because I think that song is just like perfect. Rock and Roll Suicide.
Are you talking about particular songs now? Favourite
Yeah,
songs?
Rock and Roll Suicide, which is I think my dad's favourite song. It's definitely like an excellent, incredible song.
Yeah.
And another song which I almost forgot about till the end because it's not released as a Bowie song. Under Pressure,
Yeah.
song he did with Queen, which is
True.
one of my favourite Queen songs as well. Probably my favourite Queen song. Like I think that song is just a pinnacle. It's awesome.
So, mate, have you got any favourite Bowie songs?
Gareth basically just stated all my favourite Bowie songs, but I will throw in, because it's kind of an odd one, 8-line poem from Hunky Dory. It's just got this like sweetness to it.
I put when I was writing my favourites and my like honourable mention, my favourites, just everything from Hunky Dory.
Everything.
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to write my favourite songs from Hunky Dory, I was like, I don't know, I can't choose like song for Bob Dylan, Andy Warhol. Like I both
me,
love
it's
them,
like-
particularly Life on Mars, but I'm like anyone could be that.
Oh, You Pretty Things, Life on Mars,
Everything else.
The
from Hunky
Bewley
Dory.
Brothers. The Bewley Brothers is like one of my favourites.
Kooks, Changes, they're all so good. That album,
Ridiculous.
if there's one album you listen to, it's that album.
Yeah.
It's incredible. One of the best albums ever. I love it.
And I know that someone, can't remember who, someone commented on one of our videos saying that they haven't really gotten into Bowie until, unfortunately, after he died. And
Hunky Dory.
Hunky Dory is the album for you.
Hunky Dory, exactly.
You'll fall in love with that man.
And then after that, like you need to sort of hop around his albums, I think, because you need to find the era of him that you like, and it will be different for so many people. Like you need to check out like The Man Who Sold the World and Ziggy Stardust and his more rocky stuff. And then if you're not getting as into it as you thought you would, jump like 10 years into his future and try something different, because it will be totally different, and you might love that. You might get to Let's Dance and just go, now this is awesome.
Yeah. But I think like later on in his career, I thought The Next Day and Blackstar were just solid albums. So
I didn't
give them a
listen much the next day. I probably need to go back to
it's
it.
sweet. It's sweet as hell.
Because I'd always been a fan of his earlier stuff more. Like, I
You
just
know that
didn't
you can
think of
always
Next
listen
Day
to
that
the
much.
album and be like, it's decent. You're never going to be like, wow, this is awful.
Yeah. It's true.
Even the ones I haven't listened to of his, I'd probably give like a floor of like a strong 6, like to any of them probably, because everyone I have listened to has been like well above that.
Yeah. Well, I view this man as like an alien creature who walked among us and sort of stood on stage looking very different to everybody else. He sort of flew in the face of conformity constantly and is an inspiration to
Awesome dude.
everybody, I hope. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A love letter to Bowie.
Except Kanye, because Kanye already knows that he's making the greatest album ever. He's made it and it's coming out this year.
11 out of 10. Yeah. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Hope to see you again soon. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, then do so. We'll catch you later.
And we'll love you until Tuesday.
We will. Where the fuck did Monday go?